Hey landlords, this is part 2 of the rollout from the city of Detroit because they are putting together a new rental ordinance they are super excited about. And I am a landlord and I'm looking at this and I'm just seeing confusion and flaws everywhere in it. In the first video, I talked about my theory of where this even came from, that they wanted to change it. I talked about the 37-point inspection going to a 15-point inspection, but the 37-point inspection has always been a 1,500-point inspection. So go watch that. And then how they're changing the lead paint laws. They think they're going to get rid of them, but it's not making sense. So be sure you watch part 1, 2 before you start watching part 2, because in this one, I'm going to talk about their new fee structure that is supposed to be saving us lots of money, and their escrow program that they're so excited about that kind of already exists, and how they want us to advertise, and my idea of how to solve all this. And so just so you know, if you didn't watch the first video, who I am, I'm Monique Burns. My husband and I buy houses in Detroit. We renovate them. We sell them to investors from all over the country and all over the world. I do a lot of education on Section 8. I am part of Real Estate Investors Association of Oakland, which meets a few times a month. And we talk about landlord issues and investment issues, and I am the educator for the landlords. And I also have an online course to teach people how to navigate this stuff in Detroit. So if you're interested in any of that, check the link below if you want to know about my course, or if you want to talk to us about buying one of our newly renovated rentals. Set up a time on Calendly to talk to me. But let's get into this part 2. It just keeps getting better. Okay, so now they have a new fee structure. So the way the fees work now, if you do not have Section 8, it's $195 for the city test. And then I know when I have Section 8, I'm not paying for that city test. So I send my past report into BSeed, and they give me a bill for, I think it's $73, $79, I don't remember what it is, for their processing fee. And then I get a 3-year CFC, and if I am able to renew that before the end of the 3 years, and do all the right things, turn in all the right stuff before the deadline, then I get 5 years, which is cool. So this new fee structure, what they want to do is they said, we're going to make it cheaper for you. And it is not cheaper for me, because most of my tenants have Section 8, so I'm just paying that 70 whatever number for their processing fee. But they said it's going to be cheaper because we won't have the lead test. And instead of paying the $195, you only have to pay $150. And for $150, you just have to pay it every year. Remember, this hasn't passed. This is a proposed bill. It's coming up in September. They're going to announce the date. Just watch the BSeed website. They're going to announce the date where they're having the city council where we can go talk to them, or they want us to come and agree with the plan. That's what they kept saying in the webinar. And if you're for this, come to the city council. They didn't say if you're against it and you feel like you're missing some information. Okay, hold on a second. If you are appreciating all this information I am giving you, it is super helpful to me. If you like, if you share, if you comment, it helps with my algorithm, and that helps me stay motivated to keep giving you quality stuff. Annie. Okay. So then another thing that they said is that a way to get us landlords to get into compliance and pay all these fees is like, because if you get tickets, we get tickets. If we don't get a house certified, we get tickets. And I'll give you an example of one of my houses that is not certified. And it's a mistake that I made. Don't start casting stones at me, okay? So this one of my own properties, I registered it. There's 3 ways you can get tickets: for not being registered, not having the lead, and not having the certificate of compliance. I registered it, but I didn't do the other 2, and they gave me multiple tickets for the other 2. So I owe, I don't remember what it is, like $1,500 or something for that house. I have another house where I have a ticket because my tenant put her garbage in somebody else's can, and now I have a $1,680 ticket, and I missed the court date. Don't judge me. So they're saying if I pay this off, then I can get in compliance. Yay! You know, I'm like, well, I don't really want to come up with that much money to pay it off. So I'll tell you my idea later. So anyway, they're saying if I don't pay these things off, that they're just going to attach it to my, put a lien on my house, And if you if we don't pay our taxes in the city of Detroit, after 3 years, the city can take our house. So let's say I've paid all my taxes, but I didn't pay for that trash bill for $1,680, and I didn't notice that it rolled over to the city. In 3 years, my house could end up being for auction. So no, I'm not really liking this. I'm like, I don't get it. And a friend of mine was telling me that he saw this happen in New Orleans. And he said the city was so excited they were going to attach all the tickets to the taxes, I guess, or as a lien to the house. And he said a team of lawyers came in and they shut it right down. So there's some legal reason why they're not doing it already, is what I think. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the reason is, but I just really don't like this one. And I'll just tell you my idea now because it makes sense. So my idea is, instead of like, we'll give you even more tickets, they're saying that this new ordinance is also going to enable the bad landlords where tenants call the city a lot to do more inspections on the bad landlords. So more and more tickets, which more and more fines, for the landlords. So my idea is, why don't they give us a time period? Like, okay, from 2025 to 2026, all your houses that have unpaid tickets, go to court. I'll go to court over the house that got a couple tickets for the same thing. I'll go for this one garbage one and make my case and be like, yes, I know I missed my court date when I could have fought it. Don't judge me, but I'm here now. I want to take care of it. Can you just give me a discount? They would get way more of us to come clean and want to go in compliance if we could just have a second chance at this for the times we missed court. That's my thought. Okay, so another big deal that they are doing is their escrow program. And I do not understand this one because I looked up all over the place. And if you look in my blog, you can see that the city already has a good escrow program. And it's through the courts, or you can do it through BSeed. You can do the escrow through them, meaning that if the escrow program means that if a tenant makes a complaint to a landlord and the landlord doesn't fix it, I saw one of the websites said within 30 days. If the landlord doesn't fix it within 30 days, that the tenant is supposed to put their rent in a separate bank account that's considered escrow, or you can do it with the court, or apparently with BSeed, so that when the tenant goes to court, they can say, it's not that I didn't have money for rent, it's that the landlord wouldn't fix it. So there was also the talk, the different websites said they could just put in, like if it's a $500 fix, they could put only $500 of rent, because then they could try to get it fixed themselves. And there's a whole process that they go through, and it's all very, very well written out. And I found that process on the Fair Housing website, and it was interesting. And I linked it in my blog if you want to see that. So they're all like, yes, we're going to fix the escrow program. I don't get what needs fixing. What more could you do with the escrow? But they were saying that they really want the landlords to stop retaliating against tenants who put money in escrow. Well, there's already this law that we can't retaliate with tenants because we didn't do repairs, but if they put money in escrow. Usually when a landlord wants to get rid of a tenant, it's because the tenant's not paying the rent. So the tenant's like, oh, well, I need these repairs, but it's really because they just didn't have money to pay the rent, But this is a form of the tenants have to prove that they aren't doing that because they have to put it in escrow. And it's just they said that only 20 people last year used the escrow. And I don't know if they meant BSeed's escrow or the escrow through the court or use their own escrow. I'm not really sure, but very few tenants will use this. And my thought is because typically it's because the tenant didn't have rent. And that's why they're doing all these complaints. And it's the tenants retaliating against us. And then when we get the complaint from the city, we're running out there to try to be like, what are you talking about? You never told me about this. And the city is saying, but now they have to tell you first. And like, how are you going to enforce that? Like, how, I guess that's a thing that ends up in court. And during the webinar, when people said, how is this not going to be like a free ride for tenants? Like, how do you know that the tenant is just using this as an excuse that we're not retaliating to just stay in your house so that they don't get evicted? Well, we evict tenants who aren't paying, and we evict tenants who are damaging our house. So it's all kind of murky to me, because a friend of mine was saying he had a tenant call the city on him, and it was really upsetting because the city came out and all the stuff they called out was tenant caused damages. And now he's got to fix all this stuff, and she's still in the house, and he doesn't want to fix her damages so she can redamage them. You know, so it's all kind of, you know, like I said, murky. So the last thing is advertising. And this one, I also don't get this one. They want us in all our ads for rentals to say that in Detroit, your house has to be under compliance. Not that my house is under compliance, but that it has to be under compliance. And they said the reason is because tenants don't know this. I'm like, yes, they do. They do too know this. So they want us to put that in the ads to help them educate the tenants about compliance rules, I guess. So there's a whole lot to this. I really would like to know if you think I am misrepresenting anything. If the city is watching this, please tell me below. Comment below, make corrections. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm giving my perspective as a landlord, and I really appreciate you watching this video.